to what we like to think of as the unofficial Ministry of Help. Back with a bang for another year, so let's see what's on tonight's show. Come on! How about this? Identical twins meeting for the first time. I kid you not, this is unbelievable. And would you look at just what the researchers have got me doing this week? I've got one day to learn how to do this and survive to tell the tale. And we've scoured the world for answers to your questions, and this week we landed in Arizona to talk time travel with Paul Davies. But that's not it, there's more. Kate and Jeff are back all rested and recuperated after spending time on their islands and large yachts. Is that right?
Hello, Pete.
No? No. Wrong?
Not quite.
Beach house?
Feeling relaxed, though.
That's good. That's all I'm after. What have you got for us, Kate? Anything?
One viewer wrote in pointing out a really...
Thank you for writing in. We're getting more and more popular every week.
a really strange construction that we use when we meet strangers.
Oh, OK.
So we're going to investigate that.
And the wonderful Jeff.
Lost and found, Pete. This is an absolutely incredible story. Identical twins, Rosabelle and Dorothy, separated at birth, raised in different countries. Can we reunite them after nearly a lifetime apart?
Hello. Let's have a look.
I'm looking for my other half. And just the thought of finding an identical, just imagine if your mirror self walked out and shook your hand. Think about that, how wonderful that would be. And for me, that's the same thing, finding my other half.
Rosabelle Glasby can still remember the moment she was told she had an identical twin sister, Dorothy. It was the first day of primary school and she had been captivated by the twins in her new class.
I went home and I said to my mum, you know, there's two girls and they both the same, can't tell one from the other. They're like peas in a pod. And that's when my mum sat me down and said, I've got something to tell you. You do have an identical twin sister. Of course, when you're 7, you just say, oh, where is she? Why isn't she here? Mum just said, well, she got adopted out into another family. And I say, why were we, given up for adoption in the first place? And my mum said, well, you come from a very large family and they were too poor to keep you, so that's why you both were up for adoption.
When Rosabelle was 4 years old, her family moved from Malaysia to Singapore, and later Rosabelle settled in Australia. Now, 49 years after she and her sister Dorothy were born, Rosabelle is more desperate than ever to be reunited.
I need to find her. I have a need to find her. The hardest part is knowing that she's out there and that you might die never ever meeting.
Until Rosabelle was 30 years old, she had no way of tracing Dorothy. Her first hope emerged when she obtained her own birth certificate from Malaysian authorities and was also provided with Dorothy's at the same time. Using Dorothy's full adoptive name, Rosabelle wrote to every organisation she felt could help. Unfortunately, their efforts were not rewarded, and Rosabelle lost hope.
I gave up on her because I thought she'd be married. If she changed her maiden name, there'd be definitely no hope of finding her.
Thankfully, Rosabelle's husband Mark never gave up. For years he'd had a web page dedicated to finding Dorothy, but the breakthrough never came. But then, while in outback Western Australia, an internet search of Dorothy's name threw up an incredible result, a picture of Dorothy Loader in the Malaysian Star newspaper.
And at first I said, oh, wow, oh, she does look like me, doesn't she? But it wasn't until we were driving in the car and I was looking out at the scenery of Karratha that it started to dawn on me that I've actually found my sister, and all these emotions about the past, about we could have played together, we could have gone shopping, talked about boyfriends. I just bawled my eyes out.
But even at this final hurdle, nothing went Rosabelle's way. Weeks of emails and phone calls to the paper and local authorities went unanswered, so she turned to Can We Help to break down the final barrier and contact Dorothy, which we did.
All the Europeans.
It turns out Dorothy never left Malaysia and grew up in a loving family. However, her adoptive parents have since passed away, and her adoptive sister now lives in England, making the prospect of finally meeting Rosabelle more important than ever.
Gosh, I tell you, I was shocked, really shocked. And I still said, is this true? Am I sleeping, you know? And suddenly I was very emotional. I was very emotional because I was thinking that I'll be alone. Because my sister, foster sister, she's gone to England for 5 years. And I've got 2 kids and my husband. Aside from that, I have no one else. And I always thought that I'll be here alone. And if I die, I'll always be alone. So it was a very emotional moment to know I have a sister who's looking for me.
Dorothy was 16 years old when she discovered she was adopted.
I was doing spring cleaning and I found a bag, and inside there were the adoption papers. So I confronted my mother about it and she told me the whole story.
But although Dorothy wanted to look for Rosabelle, she had no idea whether she was even in Malaysia.
Mom told me that she was also adopted by a foreigner. I do not know where to look. She could be in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand. I really don't know where to start. And I also didn't have the resources. So it just stopped there. But in my heart, I always thought that I hope she has a better life than I have.
Rosabelle, we've got some really good news. We've actually found Dorothy.
Oh,
We've spoken to her and she would love to meet you.
so she knew of me then.
Yep, absolutely.
Since I found out that she wants to see me, I'm really excited. 50 years worth of not knowing whether each other existed, not knowing if we'd ever meet, and finally it coming all through. 50 years worth has to come out in tears, and if she's exactly like me, it will come out in tears.
So we found them. Dorothy has landed and we'll reunite them in a few minutes.
How would you be meeting your identical twin for the first time? That would be incredible. I'll tell you what, I bet they wish they had a time machine. That was our first 10 News Link for the year, everybody. It's time to hear from Paul Davies. Time travel.